Nope, it's not live yet.
Mine says live.
It's live. Okay. Well, hello and welcome. I am Alex Keeler, and I am here with the super awesome Steve Isaacs, who has generously donated his time. So here's the situation. I am teaching Minecraft. I'm teaching with Minecraft. I'm not teaching Minecraft.
Right.
I'm using it as a way to give students some context for what they're learning instead of Bob's carrying 40 watermelons and who is Bob. It gives a common shared experience where we can use some same vocabulary and talk about what we're learning in the context of Minecraft. But one of my students like, why can't we use Fortnite? And I said, it's funny you should ask. I actually know someone who does Fortnite with education. So Steve, why don't you introduce what you got going on?
Sure. So, yeah, thanks, Alex. Always good to see you, of course. So interestingly, when I was in the classroom, so I was a teacher for 28 years. I taught uh, the past about 15 or 20, whatever, almost 20 years of my end of my career. I taught game design and development. And like you, I did teach with Minecraft, and also would have put it that way too. Rarely did I teach kids how to use Minecraft. They often came with those skills and they applied those skills to the things we were doing in class. So, kind of like I'm sure you're doing as well, I would set the stage for our projects, which were creating games. And if a student wanted to use Minecraft as their tool, that was perfectly appropriate. And like you, I had students about maybe, I guess by now it's 3 or 4 years ago, say, can we use Fortnite creative mode? And long story short, that kind of led to, of course, a tentative yes. In my case with my students, I wanted to make sure that it was okay on the district level and all of the things we needed to look at. And so with that, I had my kids actually advocate for themselves, write an email to our principal, um, who then shared information with IT to make sure everything was okay in terms of FERPA and all that kind of stuff. But the end of that was yes, they could. And and that led to me ultimately now ending up full time at Epic as their education program manager, working with teachers and students in bringing tools like Unreal Engine, Fortnite Creative, and Twinmotion into the classroom. So, yeah, so that was a great question to have in my class, and it sort of changed my life a little bit. Um, so that's where I am now. And in terms of using it as a tool, and this won't be any surprise to any of you because of what you're doing with Mrs. Keeler. I don't know if you call her Alice in a college class or Professor Keeler. Um, so with Alice, I'm sure the idea is that in other words, she's not saying how to use the tool, but as a sandbox tool or a sandbox environment like Minecraft, Fortnite Creative gives you the same affordances in terms of allowing you to basically do anything you can think or create anything you can imagine, in this environment.
Can I back this
Yep.
conversation just a
hmm
tiny bit? Is Fortnite and Fortnite Creative the same product? When we say, "Hey, teach with Fortnite," you just busting out your Xbox?
You can. That's what's cool. So Fortnite Creative is part of Fortnite. So there's no additional download, nothing different you need. Yeah, you don't need to. And the beauty too is Fortnite is free, as is Creative. And like you say, and that was actually a great thing to realize in my class, especially during like COVID and things, is that kids could work on any device that they had Fortnite on, and it's cross play. So I had kids collaborating on their Xbox and their Nintendo Switch and their PlayStation and their PC and all of that, which is awesome. Yeah. So that's actually a nice advantage. Another nice advantage there is that everything is saved to the cloud. So if I go home and want to continue working on a project, you might have experienced this with Minecraft. One of the challenges I had in the classroom was kids would have to export their world somehow, bring it home, put it in a cloud drive, download it, work on it, remember to re-export it, all fine, but it's kind of nice when you don't have to do any of that. So that's another one of the sort of advantages of the being on multiple devices, being in the cloud, and all of that. So yes. So to your question, and that was most helpful. And even when we teach, it's funny when we do trainings with teachers. Oftentimes, a teacher might not have a computer that runs Fortnite, and they will actually break out their Nintendo Switch for the course. So
does
that's
it work in Chromebooks?
the big question, right? Now that's interesting because natively speaking, not at the moment. However, so Xbox Cloud, or Microsoft has a product called Xbox Cloud Gaming. It's xbox.com/play. It's a free streaming platform. Some of their games, I imagine, have a fee associated, but Fortnite being free, and because they worked with Epic, they've made Fortnite completely free on that platform.
Oh,
So yeah, so you can, through an app streaming service, essentially play it, and have full functionality on a Chromebook. The reason I say not native is because you're not installing Fortnite in this case; you're actually streaming it. But that's been a game changer too, and that's fairly new. And we have teachers like, if you know Ben Kelly up in Canada, he's been hitting that pretty hard as the solution for his students and having great success. So
what does he teach?
he teaches, that's a great question. STEM primarily, I think, like all sorts of different STEM things. He does a lot, and I'll share some of his lesson plans with you. But he does a lot with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. In fact, he wrote 3 lesson plans for us, that we have available, that do focus on SDGs.
When you
So
say
yeah,
available where?
I will show you all that. How's that? Do you want to share my screen for a little bit, and I'll show you some stuff? All right, so I'm going to take a step back because since we're talking math, the first thing I kind of wanted to show was our hour of code activities with Fortnite Creative, because we get into computational thinking and such. So it's definitely probably one of the easiest clear applications, in terms of math. But with this series of activities, we have 5 hour of code activities. Each one of them covers a computer science concept, and how to kind of incorporate that in Fortnite Creative. But what's super cool is that there's no like hard coding involved, but rather all of the elements that you would think about with computational thinking are included. So, and each of these has a lesson plan, which is a full lesson plan, which guides the teacher through everything they need, everything you would want your lesson plan to have in terms of what we're teaching, what assessment criteria, what standards we're mapping to, and all of that kind of stuff. And then we also, for each one, have a student guide, which is a step-by-step guide that walks students through everything they need to do the basis of this. So here, they're in a self-guided way going through figuring this out. Now, what's interesting about this activity is, for anybody familiar with Fortnite, we're using the slurp fish essentially as a key. So basically, the player has to set up an item spawner that has the slurp fish in it. They set up a conditional button, which is this exclamation point. It'll have a question mark on it as well. And that is also set to be expecting a slurp fish. And then that is going to send a signal to the door to unlock the door if the slurp fish is there. So we're talking about a full-on conditional statement. If the player has the slurp fish and approaches that conditional button and they activate it, again, assuming they have the slurp fish, it will unlock that door. So this becomes a great starting point for kids saying, okay, now I have the game mechanic around this. Now let's create like a whole escape room experience or something, like that. These lessons also have, some other really neat things, like one that gets into functions, and that's like a tower escape trivia thick game. So they're basically putting in multiple choice questions, but it's activating, if they get the right answer, it's activating something called a sequencer, that when it activates that right answer, it triggers the sequencer. Anything that happens in that sequencer is then activated, kind of like a function in programming, where so if it's the right answer, it might play a ding, ding, ding sound. It also is going to drop the floor so you fall down to the next question and all of that. If it's the incorrect answer, it's going to do a different function that's going to say, sorry, that's wrong, and reset it. So great from a computer science standpoint. We have an obstacle course activity here where they're using all the great devices and things, but creating this obstacle course experience with collision detection. And this one is one of my favorites, making music in Fortnite Creative and getting into loops. So Fortnite Creative has music blocks, kind of like Minecraft does. And basically, and you're muted. I saw you exclaiming like with
Yeah,
excitement. I
yep,
didn't
I
want to.
was muted trying to keep the typing from going on there.
Yeah, no,
You
that's
said
okay.
this, I was thinking coding loops, so I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that makes better
Yeah,
sense."
definitely. So there again, they're using this sequencer device, and when it's activated, basically you put these music blocks in the sequencer to make a song, and it plays through the whole thing, and then you can set it to loop and all. And it's one of those things we give the kids an example of like a song like Ode to Joy. And then once they get at it, before you know it, they have Bohemian Rhapsody, playing in there and such. And then finally one with variables and such. So these are all can be found in two different places. This is a blog post, which I guess I could probably, can I drop this in the chat here? I'll put it in the private chat and then you could give it to your students. How's that? So that's the blog post that has all 5 of them. But there's also a nice place.
You mean all 5 less hour of
all,
code?
all 5 of those hour of codes, yeah. But then we also have
Really,
this whole,
yeah, okay.
yeah, we have
Rest-
this site which has all of our lesson plans essentially.
Okay, so
And
I'm on epicgames.com/Fortnite/ES
yeah,
en-us/creative/docs/
all right, I'll take you there in a minute because actually you know what, that's actually the best place. You're absolutely right because everything Fortnite oriented, and that's what this page is, right? This is cool because what this has is an education section, which
So the screen's
also,
very small. What is that top layer that you got highlighted? It says creative.
so this is our whole, this is interesting. This is the documentation site for all of Fortnite Creative. So there's a huge team that works on documentation for teaching you everything you could need to know, not for students necessarily, but it serves great for students or anybody. They've put our education stuff in here. So yes, our hour of code lessons are all here on this page. We have some humanities lessons. We have a number of additional lessons that will be coming soon. And then we have our sustainable development goal lessons. So you're absolutely right. If I give you this link, this is the best place for your students to find everything because this has the education stuff, but the greater documentation site, which is this one. So I'm just giving you a bunch of links you could share. That has everything. And again, the reason I like this as a teacher is I want to teach the students the things that are like these education oriented things. But the reality is I want kids to have resources and access to everything that's out there as documentation. So I find that now that kids find our education or teachers find our education stuff, now it's embedded with like when they're ready to expand their learning, it's got so much great content for them to spend the rest of their life exploring.
Awesome. Okay, so I just clicked on the humanities, arts, and design
Mm-hmm.
lesson. It has the lesson plan PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how does geography help you settle where you settle could impact your life? That's a great essential question.
Yeah. Yeah, we have and these are neat. All of the lesson plans are created by educators, for educators. So, and we have them for our other tools like Unreal Engine as well.
And so it says the humanities, arts, and design, and then there's
Yeah.
sustainable development goals. Is there other
Yeah. So
subjects?
if you look under this education section, this is all specific to Fortnite. We have this March Through Time. This was an activation done with Time for Kids, and it is a Martin Luther King experience in Fortnite. So this one was created by professional builders, and students can go in and experience that. Then we have, this is a neat one. This is a whole video series called Fortnite Creative for Minecraft Educators. So if you're already using Minecraft and you want to kind of see how to compare, how things translate, this will help you a lot. Because in Minecraft, you have like redstone and command blocks. In Fortnite, you have devices and triggers. So very similar, but like when it comes to just learning those ins and outs, this video series will help with that quite a bit. And then this tab is parts for all 5 of those hour of code lessons, then these humanities lessons, and then the sustainable development goal lessons. So each of those categories kind of bundles has a landing page for those. There are more of our lesson plans that are going to be still ported. Originally, they were housed in a different place. So now they're on their way over here for that reason I said before about how then it keeps it in with the whole community feel of all of the Fortnite documentation.
Awesome. So if let's say I just met you in an elevator and you said, "Hey, I'm the education director for Fortnite."
Mhm.
And I'm like, "What is that? You've got a couple floors to go." How would you recommend that I just get started with this?
Great. So my elevator pitch, as it sounds like we're getting at, for my position is that I support educators and students in bringing these tools into the classroom. And what I also like to point out is that when I was in the classroom, we didn't have a lot of these types of resources. So it was kind of hard for a teacher to decide to get started. So our goal was to create, and especially with those hour of code activities where it's all like step by step stuff, it allows a teacher to feel comfortable not being the expert, but still allowing their students to have the opportunities to use these tools. So, that was a big piece of what we did was trying to soften the learning curve, create resources that help teachers. We also provide a lot of training for educators. So we do these, what we call Unreal Educator Accelerator experiences, where we'll do workshops and such on Fortnite Creative, Unreal Engine, and Twinmotion, and some of our other tools. So
So
that's how we're trying to
how
support
long
them.
does that take?
So currently we're sort of shifting things. Now we're doing a lot of workshops in like half or full day workshops so that we can, because a lot of what I'm finding is that we have all these great resources. If I have a group of teachers for a half a day or a full day, I can guide them directly through an activity, but also share with them where all of these other resources are, because a lot of it is intended that if they get comfortable enough, they could then continue the learning on their own. Over the summer, we do an intensive 35-hour training that's a full week, and that's online. And there they get a much more immersive experience, but we're still kind of guiding them through a lot of these same resources.
Okay, so we're obviously quite a ways away from summer. When does signups for that start?
That will probably start in, I would say, probably April or May, probably May.
Okay, and
Yeah.
there's a cost?
No, no, no. For that, there's no cost. Yeah, we try to keep everything for education to be at no cost. So training, our resources, even our tools, there's no licensing fees to use them, which is really nice.
Now, when I go to the education.minecraft.net site
Hmm.
and I go to lessons, I can pretty much find a lesson plan for any subject. And the
Correct.
reason for that is because, Minecraft it's really just like a shell, right?
Hmm.
I've got a virtual world, and if you can do it in a world, you can do it in a virtual world, sort of. Is that similar to Fortnite?
Yes, totally. Very similar. In fact, right, technically, I bet you can go to the Minecraft lessons and any of the ones that are guiding you from start to like with a blank slate, you could probably repurpose any of them for Fortnite. We also have our developer community, which is where we're also starting to have community members add content. So similar to how Minecraft Education Edition, they've been at this a lot longer. So they have a huge library of lesson plans created by teachers. We're trying to start to build that. So if any of your teachers are interested, your students, let us know, and we'll I can guide them through how to put their information right on our community site.
If you were to give, and maybe this is not a good question, but what age range would you target?
Oh, great. No, that is a great question. For Fortnite Creative, definitely ages 13 and up, because it's an ESRB rated 13 game. There might come a time where something will help with age gating that will provide content that is appropriate for younger ages. But right now, because we don't have that, we're very we definitely want to keep it to that age group. So it's high school primarily. When I was in the classroom, it was 8th grade through 12th grade is that I used Fortnite Creative with at the time.
Okay. Awesome. This is super helpful. So the first place to start is just to go to the link on epicgames.com, and on the document, it's got that education page too. And that's going to really walk them through, like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I don't know anything. I mean, I didn't even know how to spell Fortnite until
That's right.
um that's how much I use it, which is not. My son really just wants a Lego Fortnite gun. That's about all I know. I think there's
Got
a
it.
llama in there. So But I don't want to sit that back and keep being ignorant. And my students are into it, then I need to learn more about it, starting with how to spell it.
Yeah.
So is there any easy way for educators to really take that first step?
Yeah, I mean, going through those hour of code activities are fantastic because they do that step-by-step guide. So they'll teach a teacher how to build through that. I'll drop my email in the chat. I gotta run, unfortunately,
No
but
problem. Thanks for
but
joining.
people are welcome to get in touch with me if they have any questions. So you can share that with your students as well.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you.
Cool.
Appreciate that. Well, have a
You're
great
welcome.
day. Thanks for sharing this.
Thanks.
And I'd
It
love
was a
to
pleasure.
follow up later. Bye.
Totally, we can follow up. Bye, Alice.